All right, good morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Lindsay Monroe. We've got Chuck Lofton here. It's been a long morning.
Oh boy, what a day.
Yeah.
I think we all knew that this morning rush hour was going to be a little difficult, but
Yes.
wow, especially on the interstate system here.
It really has been, and those ramps have been causing
Yeah.
the biggest issue. I'm going to break down all throughout the metro kind of what we've been looking at so far this morning and what we can anticipate from a road conditions standpoint. And we've also been monitoring some incoming snowfall numbers. We've had several reports officially out at the airport, 6.5 last hour.
And 7 inches out at the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And still falling. And you know, in this mess, since we were on Sunrise this morning, Sia New Yorker's been out there.
That's right, and she's been giving us an update from where the snow is still actively falling. So let's check in with her now. Sia,
Hey,
how
Sia.
are things going?
Hey, good morning, Chuck. Good morning, Lindsay. We are in Martinsville, and let me tell you, the snow has not stopped coming down. We've been here for several hours now. It was dark, the sun rose, and you can see it is still quite a mess here. Right in front of us right now, snow plow. This morning, a lot of the roads were unplowed. And so I talked about it on air, how we were some of the first set of tire tracks in some of the areas, especially those secondary roads. But we're back out here, we're off Elm Street, and we're heading into the middle of Martinsville. But things out here are a big mess, and they really got a lot of snow. So we're just telling people, if you don't have to be out here today, you know, take the day and just stay bundled up and stay warm. But if you do have to come out, make sure safety first. Make sure you don't crowd the snowplow. Make sure you keep plenty of room in between you and the other cars. On our way down here, we saw a lot of people just spinning out, tires just spinning, and just, you know, some people had to get out of the car to try to get the snow from around their tires. And so you just never know. And particularly with this black ice, I mean, cars are just sliding everywhere. So you'll want to just take it easy and be careful as the snow just continues to fall. We're not sure exactly what those totals will be, but it's pretty significant down here in Morgan County.
Yeah, and I think, Sia, probably more than 7 inches, certainly in Martinsville and Mooresville and down around Morgantown. So, Sia New Yorker, thank you so much for being with us this morning here on 13 Plus and WTHR.com. 9:07 right now as you look at Carmel, and you can see it's a winter wonderland there. You folks in Carmel have more than 6 inches of snow, we believe, and of course it's still falling. This is a look at some of our cameras around the area. Look at downtown Indy as this burst of snow is moving through right now. This is a look at the Country Club of Indianapolis, kind of the same look. And how about Connorsville? Again, looks like a winter wonderland out there. Want to remind you, winter storm warning until 7 o'clock tonight. This winter weather advisory for Marion over towards Hartford City and then near Union City, that's in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. So we're almost done with that. But to set this scenario, deep area of low pressure that right now is off to our east and southeast over West Virginia. We're on the backside of this, and normally you would think, okay, the moisture content's not there, so you shouldn't be getting much snow, but that's not the case. There's plenty of moisture content there, and so here we go with these bands of heavier snow. That's the blue that you see moving through the Meridian Hills neighborhood on the north side by Meridian Hills Country Club, beautiful neighborhood, and also again, a winter wonderland over towards Fishers, Noblesville, Whitestown, and Danville, Greencastle too, and all of this is sliding to the south. Which means we still have more of this, especially those of you, Greenwood, Franklin, Bloomington, Columbus. You've got at least a couple more hours of this and potentially even more than that. Now, currently, our wind chill is 8 with a temperature of 21. And look at these wind gusts, 23 miles per hour in Columbus, 25 miles per hour in Bloomington. That was one of the reasons, folks, for the winter storm warning, because of the strong wind gusts. Earlier this morning, if you were watching Sunrise, we had 40 mile per hour wind gusts out at Indianapolis International Airport. So it just feels cold. You know, the cold air blows over the snow, which is packed in, and so that chills the air. Now, it's a triple threat today. We believe that this last round of snow, another ½ an inch to 1.5 inches in the metro area, the strong winds, and then the single-digit wind chills. Lindsay put this together. I really like this. This shows the lines of demarcation here from Lafayette to Kokomo. There's just not much. You guys are basically done with the snow this morning, but ½ an inch to 1.5 inches here in the metro. This is additional, not including yesterday's snow. And if you were with us earlier this morning on Sunrise, we started the show with 5 inches. We're now well over that. In fact, the fairground's now at 7 inches of snow, 1.5 inches to 2.5 additional inches from Bloomington and Martinsville and Columbus on south. Now, if you are going to be out shoveling snow, remember this is one of the more dangerous activities that you can do. And if you've ever been to a cardiologist, one of the things they will tell you to do is don't shovel snow. And if you do, take breaks every 20 to 30 minutes. Remember to push that snow rather than lift it. You can tear your back up. It also creates a real strain, especially if you're elderly or you're out of shape. That can really be a bad thing for you to remove that snow. But later on today, we're going to see temperatures rise, but not much. We're at 21 now. 27 will be our high later today. And as we put our future track in motion, this is a look at 11 o'clock today. And again, watch how that snow continues to pinwheel to the east, but in back of it is this real cold northerly breeze. That's why it's going to feel cold and really well below average for the next several days, and below average in every single day of our 7-day outlook. Remember that weather impact alert day? That's what we've got going on right now. 26 tomorrow, and then we feel the coldest air of the season so far moving in. Only 20 Wednesday, 0 for a low on Thursday morning with the wind chills in the sub-zero category. 16 will be the high. And then, Lindsay, slowly but surely we're going to get some snow in here, but it will also warm up to Sunday's high of 30 degrees. But, you know, I think the biggest aspect of watching the weather today has actually been the traffic and how dramatically it's been affected.
It's just not getting better.
No, it's not.
This next round coming in, and been posting about these incidents that have been going on. I've had some responses on X and kind of like asking, you know, where's NDOT? What are they doing? They were out. They were out in full force pre-treating the roads before this event started. And then they've been out ever since, all through the overnight, all morning long.
12-hour shifts, these folks.
12-hour shifts, that's right. So they are doing really the best they can given the conditions that are out there. And that is another round of snow falling at perhaps around ½ an inch per hour underneath some of these heavier bands. And the fact that we've had 40+ mile-per-hour wind gusts so far today. I mean, you just can't keep up with that. It's going to blow that snow around. It's going to recover what's already been treated. And, you know, at that kind of rate, it's just very hard to keep up with.
Right.
A couple of updates that the National Weather Service just published. These are some unofficial storm total reports across portions of central and southern Indiana. Terre Haute, this was an update from about an hour and a half ago, reported a 7.8-inch snowfall there. Mooresville, so we're talking just on the southwest side of town, 6 inches. Ellettsville, a report of 8 inches. So that's down near the campus of Indiana University. And then on the near south side of town in Southport had a 6.9-inch report. So if you are following with us on our digital platforms, I know that we are live also on the WTHR Facebook page. Feel free to put a question or a comment in that comment section. We can get some interaction going with you as we are basically in wave 2 of this storm system that initially started in the mid-morning hours yesterday. Now we're not only in the cleanup process from that, but we are also seeing the impacts from that second wave moving in. What you see behind me is our traffic map, obviously, but I've got the road weather index fired up. That's what the teal represents. We've had a combination of teal, which is snow-covered roads, and then we've had blue in between, which is heavy snow, and that's been an issue, especially what I've been noticing as plows kind of go down the interstate, as they do, they push all the snow to one side. Well, a lot of that kind of blocks those on-ramps. So if you don't have a four-wheel drive car and you're trying to get onto those travel lanes off of a ramp, you often have to go through perhaps a foot and a half of the standing snow. And you could get stuck, and I've seen a lot of spin outs, cars not being able to kind of merge onto those lanes that have been plowed. So that's been an issue. The ramp systems, they have been issues, especially those elevated ramps. We've got a couple big ones across town up on the northwest side, 865 at 65, 74 down at 465, and then this one right here, it's that new 69 southbound ramp to 465 south. We'll take you there in just a second, but again, we've had our accident icons kind of fired up all through the morning. The fact that we only have 3 is pretty amazing, Chuck. At times we've had up to 15 at one time, and they've mostly been slide offs and spin outs, things like that across the metro. So that's kind of a look at the bigger picture and just kind of showing you that this has been one of those ongoing situations where it just hasn't been getting better as far as the road conditions go. Wanted to show you this view right here. This is one of the ramps that I mentioned. This is in that construction zone. It's already kind of bad enough without the snow added to it in this construction zone. This is the ramp from 69 southbound onto 465 southbound. So there have been several times where one lane's fine, everyone kind of moving at the same speed. It's when 1 or 2 vehicles try to get going next to each other, and one of those vehicles being a semi, just a little bigger. Well, that car going on that inside lane kind of gets stuck because the semi takes over the travel lanes that are movable. So that causes issues. I've seen that probably about 4 or 5 times now on this ramp. And actually, an earlier incident right here moved one of these barricades. So again, yeah, look at that backup.
And that cold air is blowing underneath that bridge too, and that ramp.
That's right. Yeah. So that's one of those things that goes back to the crews have been doing the best they can. It's just nearly impossible to keep up given those kind of conditions that are out there. Now I want to take you down to downtown. This is a issue that looks like it's in the final stages of getting cleared up, but this is the same deal, Chuck, as you were mentioning. This is one of those overpasses. This is coming into the north split along I-70, where I-70 westbound meets up with 65 northbound, where you can kind of split off there. The wind going underneath of these overpasses is creating that slick layer, so you could be moving on at a pretty steady pace, but then you come to this stretch, which is basically a bridge, and you hit an icy spot and you spin out. That was the case here. We had about 3 cars involved in this just a few moments ago. Looks like the tow trucks have now kind of gotten them out of the way. So that is down to 1 travel lane. I'm going to step off screen here, but I'll keep talking because I want to show you a few more views from across the city where we are seeing some slowdowns and some backups, and where our maps are kind of in the red zone, which is where these slowdowns have taken place. Here's another trouble spot. I'm going to flip this camera and take you up to the north side of town now. It might take a second to load. This is US 31, so Meridian Street, where that meets up with 465, and this has been a problem spot as well. 465 eastbound onto US 31 near Meridian Street there. We had a bunch of slide offs on that ramp, and that created some stop and go traffic all the way back 465 eastbound, and it's still pretty slow going. And something don't think about with this blowing snow is the visibility. Check this out.
Oh my gosh.
465 at Ditch Road. We were talking, Chuck, it kind of looks like blizzard conditions. Not quite.
Boy, it does.
But the blowing snow certainly apparent there. And now we'll take you a little farther off to the northwest side. And this is another one of those ramps that's been a big problem. Looks like they finally cleared it. But going back to about 5 o'clock this morning, that ramp from 65 southbound to 865, there was a jackknife semi, and it took nearly 4 hours for that to clear. So that was a pretty big issue. Now a couple more on the west side before I kind of wrap things up. Just want to show you how things are playing out kind of all around the metro. So we'll flip this over to the west side of town. This is going to be 465.
Look at that passing lane. I don't know if you noticed.
Check this one out.
Yeah, the passing lanes even. They look like they haven't been plowed. They have,
I know.
But it's just coming down. Oh boy.
So this looks like a new incident that just popped up. This is 465. This is looking north. So that'll be the southbound travel lanes where that truck is facing the wrong direction. Crews have been out, the NDOT crews, as soon as something happens, I've noticed they've been pretty quick to get to the scene to kind of get traffic blocked, get around that issue. But it's been a lot of semis.
So this location, that's Wayne Township. And if you were to, on the left-hand side of your screen, if you were to go just a little farther west to give you folks an identifier of where this is, be Chapel Rock Christian Church, Covenant Christian High School's out there, Ben Davis High School. all west of this location, that is a very heavily traveled spot, especially late in the morning rush hour. You got a lot of traffic coming out of Speedway and Wayne Township. And yeah, as you mentioned, that truck is flipped around in the opposite direction.
And that's kind of been the thing. Semis perhaps getting going a little too quick. Roads look okay, and then you get up to a spot where a plow has dumped a bunch of snow, and then you kind of lose control, especially if you don't have a four-wheel drive. It just kind of gets you off of those main travel lanes that have been plowed. So this is a little farther south, and I just wanted to point out the difference here on where we are starting to see some improvements. This is going to be 465 again on the west side of town, where there have been more vehicles kind of traveling. That is creating that friction on the roadway, and it is at least creating some lanes here where you can actually see some pavement. But you get off one of these main thoroughfares, and this is what the ramp system looks like. So it's basically still ice and snow covered out there. And because we've had so many icy ramps, earlier this morning, the state police actually called to shut down this ramp right here. This is going to be just a little bit farther south than there, and this is out near the airport. So this is going to be the ramp from 465 northbound onto I-70 westbound. It was this one right here. Earlier this morning, about 6:30, there were so many slide-offs on this ramp, which obviously, again, it's one of those elevated surfaces. You got the cold air underneath of it, everything kind of refreezing. Because of that, they closed the ramp down, called trucks out. They're like, hey, we need more assistance right now on this ramp in particular, because they just had so many vehicles.
There goes right in back of you is one of the INDOT trucks, and it was just, it looked like it was.
There you go.
There you go. There's another one in back of it.
And also, speaking of out by the airport, we've had so many cancellations so far today.
Yes, I checked just a few minutes ago. We stand now at 39 cancellations. And if you do have a flight today and it says delayed, or even if it says on time, keep checking your app from your airline, because even though we only have, I think now, like 4 delays, that could increase many-fold, because what happens is late in the day it gets jammed up, the system gets jammed, and so you have more delays. So keep that in mind if you're flying out today or picking someone up at the airport.
Yeah, Indy said, you know, we've got our runways clear, we are open, everything is, you know, operating, but double check your own airline and your flight to make sure.
And also remember, Lindsay, that when you get a plane de-iced, you have 30 minutes from the end of that de-icing to get on the runway and take off. If it's even 30 seconds after 30 minutes, that plane has to go all the way back to the terminal, be de-iced again, and that can put the brakes on the whole system. So let's hope that doesn't happen today.
Yeah, hopefully we can get things back in normal operating procedure. It is very slow, though, out there. So again, just to recap, we're going to hit this live stream at the top of every hour. Sean is back in. I think he got 5 full minutes of sleep last night. So he is back. We're going to be keeping you updated. Then we'll, of course, be on at the noon show as well. But just again, a reminder, we've got this last round, the second wave that's coming through. We got about 2 to 3 more hours. We could pick up potentially another 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches, depending on where you are in the state. Likely slightly more just south of the I-70 corridor, where we're seeing some of that banding set up right now. So that will be around between about now and noon. Then that will all clear out. So hopefully we get some big time improvements when it comes to our road conditions later today. But in the meantime, thanks for joining us. We are going to be continuously updating our social media pages, WTHR.com. Of course, we'll be back with you, WTHR Plus, as well through the course of the day. Stay safe out there, everyone.